The Epstein Files represent one of the most controversial and widely discussed criminal investigations in modern American history. The case captured global attention not only because of the serious allegations involved, but also because of the powerful social and financial networks surrounding Jeffrey Epstein. Over the years, the gradual release of legal documents, testimonies, and investigative records created a complex picture that continues to raise difficult questions about accountability, justice, and institutional failures. Jeffrey Epstein was widely known as a wealthy financier who moved within elite social circles that included influential business leaders, politicians, and celebrities. His lifestyle reflected extreme wealth, with multiple luxury properties, private aircraft, and exclusive international travel. For many years, Epstein maintained an image of a private investor managing funds for high-net-worth individuals, which helped him gain access to some of the most powerful environments in the world. Behind this public persona, allegations began to surface suggesting that Epstein had been involved in illegal activities for years. Several young women later reported that they had been approached with offers of money, modeling opportunities, or career assistance, only to find themselves involved in situations of exploitation. Many of these allegations initially remained largely outside national headlines, allowing the situation to continue developing quietly for a long period of time. In the early 2000s, law enforcement agencies began receiving formal complaints connected to activities at Epstein's residences. Investigations gradually expanded as more individuals came forward with similar claims. Detectives reviewed witness statements, travel records, financial transactions, and communication logs, attempting to understand the scale of the alleged network. These early investigations would later become the foundation for multiple legal proceedings. One of the most controversial moments in the case occurred in 2008, when Epstein reached a plea agreement that allowed him to avoid more severe federal charges. The outcome sparked criticism from legal experts and advocacy groups who believed the penalties did not reflect the seriousness of the allegations. The agreement later became a major subject of debate, with many observers questioning how such a deal had been negotiated. Although the case temporarily faded from major national headlines after the plea agreement, investigative journalists and legal teams continued examining court filings and testimonies. Over time, additional lawsuits were filed by alleged victims seeking compensation and recognition of their experiences. These civil cases gradually brought new information into the public domain, renewing interest in the broader investigation. Public attention returned dramatically in 2019 when federal authorities arrested Epstein on new trafficking-related charges. The arrest triggered international media coverage and led to renewed scrutiny of earlier legal decisions. Prosecutors began reviewing thousands of pages of evidence, including witness testimonies, financial documents, travel logs, and communications that investigators believed could demonstrate patterns of long-term activity. As the legal proceedings continued, more individuals came forward with allegations, describing experiences of manipulation, pressure, and psychological trauma. Advocacy organizations emphasized the importance of providing legal support and protection for individuals willing to testify. Civil lawsuits proceeded alongside the criminal investigation, expanding the amount of information available to courts and journalists. In August 2019, the case took an unexpected turn when Epstein was found dead in his jail cell while awaiting trial. Authorities ruled the death a suicide, but the event immediately generated intense public debate and widespread speculation. Many observers expressed concern that critical testimony and potential evidence might never be fully presented in court, leaving important questions unanswered. Despite Epstein's death, legal actions related to the case continued. Courts began reviewing additional lawsuits connected to alleged associates and examining further evidence that had been collected during earlier investigations. Over time, certain legal documents were gradually unsealed, allowing the public to view portions of what became widely known as the Epstein Files. These files included depositions, witness statements, financial records, and travel information that helped investigators and journalists better understand the structure of Epstein's operations. Each new release of documents generated renewed media coverage and public discussion, as analysts attempted to interpret the significance of the information being revealed. The Epstein investigation also raised broader questions about institutional accountability and whether financial influence had affected earlier legal outcomes. Policy experts and legal scholars examined the handling of the case, discussing potential reforms aimed at improving investigative transparency and victim protection. Advocacy groups continued calling for stronger legal frameworks to ensure that similar cases would be handled differently in the future. International attention remained focused on the case as authorities in multiple jurisdictions reviewed potential legal connections. Journalists across the world collaborated to analyze newly released documents, comparing timelines, testimonies, and travel records in an effort to identify patterns that might explain how the alleged network operated for so many years. For many victims, the ongoing legal proceedings represented an opportunity to finally have their experiences publicly recognized. Support organizations provided counseling, legal assistance, and advocacy services to individuals participating in lawsuits and investigations. The case became a significant example of how survivor testimonies can play a crucial role in uncovering hidden criminal activity. Financial investigations also played an important role, as analysts attempted to trace complex payment systems and financial transfers associated with Epstein's operations. Investigators reviewed banking records, corporate structures, and offshore accounts to determine how funds had moved through various entities connected to the case. The release of additional legal documents over the years continued to generate intense public interest. Each new disclosure prompted renewed debate across news media, legal communities, and policy discussions. Analysts emphasized that many aspects of the case remained unresolved, and that the full extent of the activities described in the files might never be completely known. Political leaders and public institutions faced questions regarding oversight and investigative procedures, leading to discussions about reforms aimed at strengthening accountability mechanisms. Several reviews examined how earlier investigations had been conducted and whether systemic changes were necessary to prevent similar situations in the future. Even years after Epstein's death, the case continues to influence discussions about justice, power, and transparency. New lawsuits, document releases, and investigative reports periodically bring additional details into the public spotlight, ensuring that the story remains an ongoing subject of global attention. For journalists, investigators, and legal experts, the Epstein Files represent both a historical record and an ongoing investigation into complex networks of influence. The gradual emergence of information demonstrates how long-term investigative work, combined with survivor testimonies and persistent reporting, can reveal activities that once remained hidden from public view. Today, the Epstein Files stand as a symbol of unanswered questions and continuing legal efforts. While many aspects of the case have been documented, debates continue regarding the full scope of the network, the responsibilities of associated individuals, and the lessons that legal systems must learn from the investigation. The story serves as a reminder that even the most powerful individuals can eventually face scrutiny, and that the pursuit of justice often continues long after the headlines begin to fade.